YouTuber Anton the Spot asks in his video linked below if and how modern atheists should engage theists. He wants opinions for if it's best to just sit back and let the believers live submerged in their happy lives of delusions, and if we toss them a flotation device of rationality, are we being any better than they would be to attempt the injection of their religious faith into our lives? It's a good question, in large part because it shows a concern for avoiding hypocrisy. I would guess that most atheists are content to just be left alone and have no interest in debating or arguing over religious matters, especially as long as people aren't proselytizing on their doorsteps. They have no interest in going out of their way to do the exact thing they hope theists won't do to them. As a result, many of those atheists just don't bother to present any resistance to the overwhelming rush of theistic propaganda around them. Depending on their community, it usually doesn't seem worth the trouble. Here's where I stand on the matter. I don't have a problem with people being public about what they believe and why they believe it. In fact, I'm all for the greatest transparency possible about what the people around me believe and their explanations for why. The problems lie in how that expression has been done and the lack of open and honest discussion in response to it. Teaching children what you take in faith is factually true, and having them stand in a public place to hand out literature advertising that the people they give it to will burn forever unless they accept Jesus, which is something that recently happened to me, does not fit my idea of healthy proselytization. However, if you wish to stand in a public square or post videos on a public website talking about what you personally believe and why, then I'm all for it, provided that you're able to accept and consider honest scrutiny and criticism from those willing to offer it. The problem from my perspective is that religion in particular has been given so much of a free pass on such abrasive concepts as threatening eternal hellfire for disagreeing with it for so long that it almost seems impolite to publicly challenge it. It almost seems that religion gets the loudest public microphone, and that just doesn't seem fair to me. The result has been that those speaking out on religious matters or who have attached a religious rider onto their message have been spoiled with a false sense of entitlement. Now, when they publicly talk about their God sending all the sinners of this world to a fiery pit for their infinite punishment, and someone dares to oppose them, many of them actually get offended by the person who stood up against what they were saying. And that's where the public discussion really breaks down. We get so swamped with fussing over who has the right to tell things to whom that we talk past each other and we miss one another's message completely. It's considered a general rule of polite behavior to never discuss religion or politics, because those are muddy issues that people tend to take very personally, and unless both sides of the discussion are in strict agreement on all points discussed, the danger of the conversation becoming a heated argument increases. In the interest of real progress, we need to talk to each other and listen to each other on the matters we consider important. Most Christians who approach me to tell me that I'm going to hell if I don't accept Jesus aren't doing it because they hope to insult or offend me. They're doing it because they think they're saving me. So it's my job in that instance to listen to what they have to say and ask clear and open questions based on what they've told me. After doing so comes the important part. They have to be willing to hear all my arguments against their position with composure and control equal to mine. If they aren't able to fulfill that last requirement, they never should have approached me to make their points in the first place. If they aren't capable of even considering any error in their position, let alone having it explained to them, they aren't interested in actual dialogue, and therefore their statements don't deserve public air. The same concept applies to posting beliefs on public forums. I should be free to post a YouTube video explaining why I believe in leprechauns and warning people that are viewing it who don't that they might be missing out on their fair opportunities for pots of gold. However, for me to expect people's audience, I'd better be willing to listen to and consider the comments and video responses voicing their arguments against what I believe, provided that they're giving more than just insults. So in short, Anton the Spot, coming on YouTube to present your arguments against an absurdity which you see most people being guilty of, or to argue against those who have come here to support that absurdity is absolutely fine, as long as you're willing to behave fairly and maturely on both sides of the discussion.